So what about this whole no pants thing?
It's part of my crime strategy. All right.
Okay, yeah. As captain of the AV club, please break this down for me.
AV club crime. All right, so we're gonna use an oscilloscope, right, to create a Pong game, and then we're gonna teach dogs to play Pong on an oscilloscope because it's the 70s, and then they're gonna use their skills at playing Pong to distract the receptionist at the local arcade while we steal quarters from the pinball tables.
I have an update to this plan.
Yeah, alright, yeah.
Sneak them into the White House. The president loves Pong. Get him on Pong. Steal money from the government of the United States.
Okay, that's a little bit... That's a bit of an escalation, but I'm with you. I think this might work. I think it might work. Welcome to Rough Cuts, everyone. Holy shit.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
A Doberman at play, intelligent, fun-loving, fearless. This is Prince in action, not as man's best friend, but as a member of a bold and cunning band of canine culprits. Yes, those perfect crime specialists are back. The notorious Doberman gang is up to its old tricks, about to commit a more spectacular caper in The Daring Dobermans. Programmed to perform an impossible mission to rip off $2 million from a secret safe located 9 stories above ground. Daring Dobermans. It's entertainment that the entire family can enjoy together. Rated G for general audiences. All ages admitted.
The 70s.
It was the 70s.
God.
Dudes with hairy chests showing. Khakis that look like human flesh.
Lots of fly guys. Oh god, I forgot about the human flesh khakis. Alright, welcome to Rough Cuts, our podcast about good boys and bad movies, where we watch a bad dog movie and then immediately go into recording about it. We did the sequel to the Doberman Gang. This is The Daring Dobermans?
The Daring Dobermans.
We already saw the Doberman Gang.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So this is a sequel. It's one of 3 sequels to the Doberman Gang. And the Doberman Gang was, I believe, actually, like... It was well-liked enough to be successful?
Yes.
I don't think the sequels were, but...
Yeah, it feels like a B-movie successful. It's weird that it got this many sequels.
Yeah. So,
as a quick aside, by the way, hi, my name's Ilian, and this is my co-host, the Boinks.
Correct.
Just Boinks.
I want to talk about dogs. We're here to talk about dogs.
You want to get right into dogs. I get it. There's a lot of good boys in these movies. These ones are core to the podcast, because this is a lot of good boys.
So for context, we did an episode about the Doberman Gang with episode 62. And you could check that one out at roughcutspodcast.com.
Yeah, editor's note. Yep. By the way, this is your edit, so good luck. And we've done 150 of these. I don't want to have to look through and actually remember any of them. I never look back. I try and forget these movies the minute that we're done them.
Yeah, in that movie, a group of criminals teach a bunch of Dobermans how to rob a bank. They rob a bank, and then all of them shoot each other and double-cross each other, and they all die, and the dogs get away with the money.
And they train the dogs. Most of the movie, though, the vast majority of the movie, is them finding these dogs, getting a dog trainer, going out into the wilderness to try and hide from everybody, building an exact replica of the thing that they're going to have them rob, and then having all of the dogs go through the exact steps over and over and over and over as they train them in the woods, far away from everybody.
Yeah.
It's really cheap to film in the woods.
It's really cheap to film in the woods. And this movie is about
finding these dogs, getting a dog trainer, going out into the wilderness to try and hide from everybody, building an exact replica of the thing that they're going to have them rob, and then having all of the dogs go through the exact steps over and over and over and over as they train them in the woods, far away from everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's really cheap to film in the woods.
Wait, that's the same movie. Hold on. Wait, that's the same
Wait.
movie. Wait a minute.
Did we describe the same? I don't understand. It's the same movie.
It's the same movie. How's that work?
God damn it. I'm so mad because you called it right at the beginning and I'm like, I hope they don't do that. I really wish they didn't. And it looked like I was right for a while because it starts out, the start of this movie, in the last one, like you said, they all double cross each other, all the humans do, and they basically all kill each other, and then the dogs run off on their own with the money.
Correct.
And this movie starts quite literally with just the old footage of the crime from the first movie, which is no context if you haven't seen the first film. It's just a bunch of dog crime.
It's dog crime, and then the dogs do more crime.
Yes.
Yeah. So we thought it was just going to be the dogs doing crime, the film, which would have been a really good movie.
They set it up like these dogs ran away knowing that they had the money, because they start just like grifting random people on the road. Like there's like a bunch of campers.
Like I'm imagining one of the dogs just smoking a cigar. Like
yeah. Like this is where the dogs playing poker thing comes from, because they're all like sitting around on a boat, teaching children how to gamble, playing cards.
Look, you can't just teach children how to gamble in our video game now available on the Nintendo Switch. You can't just do that and put a warning at the beginning of the game saying, "Are you an adult? Yes, no." And if you say yes, it kicks you back to the main menu. Because we need to teach children how to gamble. You can't just do that. But if you were going to do that and then put ska music, you should
definitely call it Sunshine Shuffle and have them all go through existential crises.
Hey, so I had to tell Nintendo for the third time, whether or not our new game Sunshine Shuffle enables child gambling. That's right, folks. I have goofed too close to the sun this time.
This, very similar to this movie, there's dog crime and teaching children how to do crime.
That kid didn't need to be taught, as it turns out. Well, that kid was the teacher ultimately,
apparently,
which is a thing that we both called right away. The minute that the kid was introduced, I'm like, okay, it's the kid's the one that gets all the money. Like it's the most obvious thing possible. But
man.
Anyway, it starts out really interesting because you're like, oh my god, they're just doing this in a universe where all of a sudden these dogs have just learned crime. They have graduated crime school and now they're geniuses. And then it promptly throws it away, and it's actually the AV Club makes an oscilloscope. And they use it to play a range of frequencies, like ultrasonic frequencies that only dogs can hear, which was what they used to train the dogs in the first one, like a bunch of dog whistles. And they just go into the woods and play their electronic music for dogs. Like,
okay, but that would have been a better movie if they were just playing electronic music for dogs, right?
But that is what the beginning is. The beginning is they make dog music.
Like, okay, so there's a thing in a lot of movies where they have techno jargon to try and like emphasize that there's electronics involved and they're new and nobody understands them. This is very very familiar in a lot of 70s and 80s B movies, especially anywhere there's like Weird Science. Weird Science is a perfect film for this trope, where they use computers to create an electronic AI woman who creates art off of other people's AI scraped artworks and then claims it as her own. And at the end, I don't know, their brother gets turned into a slime monster or something. I don't really remember. I lost track of the plot in Weird Science at some point. But
I just remember two weird incels making a girlfriend for themselves.
That's true, and they were wearing bras on their head while they did it. Yeah. You remember that, yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen Weird Science, actually.
And we're not even talking about the Weird Science television series, which came out afterwards, because it had a full fucking TV series, like everything in the 80s. There was a fucking Freddy Krueger television series. Like,
okay, I know that we need to fill time because there's nothing that happens in this movie, but also we should probably talk about the movie that we watched,
what I was getting
not other
to,
movies.
What I was getting to is that they have electronic equipment. So one is an oscilloscope.
Yes.
For sure. And the other one's just like an audio equipment or something. and they just stack them on top of each other. And these are they're rack-mounted equipment that are used for, like if you brought it into an actual audio.
Yeah, it would be like a receiver and an oscilloscope.
Yeah. And they hook them up in their camper outside in the middle of nowhere with no electronic plugins or generator.
Yeah, they don't really show a generator or anything. I guess that it's implied they're running it off of the RV, but
just plug it into the engine, I guess.
Sure.
And none of them are plugged into anything. It's just a power cable in the back of them.
That's the thing, yeah. They show the backs of them for a scene, and there's no cables. There's just nothing.
Yes. And then they're just fiddling with the dials, doing science stuff, talking about the sound and high-pitched frequencies.
We're going to go up the scales of the harmonies, which will make the sounds of the dogs that they like. But we can't hear them because we hear in gigapascals and the dogs don't.
Warren, ever hear of ultra-high frequency sound waves? Well, it's a scientific fact.
Uh-huh.
Those sound waves pitch so high,
Go on.
the human ear can't hear them.
Yeah, go on.
But dogs can.
That's how whoever planned this thing controlled the Dobermans.
Wow.
It's totally
What does that mean?
like. How
What,
is
we
this
race around
70s
the woods
Topher
like
Grace?
3 elves blowing on little whistles that only dogs can hear?
Come on, get serious, will you? We do it electronically. Now, Greg has come up with a gimmick that just might call the dogs in for us.
You see, Warren, now we don't know exactly which pitches the dogs have been trained to respond
I
to.
love 70s
So
techno
instead of blowing
jargon.
around ourselves, blowing a bunch of
Yeah.
differently pitched whistles, we're going to use an oscillator.
Uh-huh.
And
An
it'll play a bunch of
oscillator,
pitches
go
up and
on.
down the scale.
Okay.
And maybe, just maybe, the dogs will react to one of them.
And it's that
it's
perfect
great.
era of techno jargon where you look at it now, you're like, what the fuck are you doing and talking about?
I'm pretty sure back then you could have also looked at it and gone, what the fuck are you doing or talking about?
But we were talking about that because in Stranger Things, in season 1, there's the AV club. Where they have the AV club kids that go to club and then they get their equipment. And we were talking about like how they would go into the woods and plug stuff in this movie and just do stuff. And they would do something like that in Stranger Things. And they do in Stranger Things. They set up a radio antenna on a hill, but they have fucking shit you plug in. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's funny just taking electronic equipment and smacking it down on a table and saying, we're doing science now.
Well, especially when the science is, I'm going to play music for these dogs.
Yeah, and so they're playing music for the dogs because they heard about the Doberman gang bank
Heist.
robbery.
Yeah.
The bank robbery.
Yeah.
And in the first movie. And this takes place literally 1 minute after the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
That same night.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And at first it seems like these guys start talking about it as if the dogs did the crime.
Yes,
and then eventually
dog criminals. Yeah.
And we were like so excited because I was like, oh man, finally we've got a universe where it's like, no, they're just gonna kind of like telepathically talk to the dogs to make them do more crimes and work with them. But then the one guy goes, wait a minute. That's stupid. That's really stupid. There's probably somebody who was using whistles to control them, and I was instantly deflated and didn't care about this movie anymore. I was like, oh no.
So
they make dog music to find the dogs. But they think that the dogs have been trained by a bunch of people and controlled, but they don't question at all that the dogs would have just escaped into the woods and nobody would have controlled them and picked them up. Like, why do they not... If they assume that there is a gang that used the dogs to do it, why are they assuming that the gang has all turned on each other and all die? Is it just because that's always what happens to gangs when they do a bank heist?
Nobody found the money or the dogs. So they're assuming the dogs are still out there. Right?
I guess.
And it's become like an urban legend where everybody is only talking about dog crime.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, they're sitting around the pool, in their shorts, wearing their
flesh-colored
their
legs.
flesh-covered leg pants and polo shirt. And they're like, hey, you remember that Doberman crime where they robbed all those banks? Yeah, bro, that's all I think about, bro. And they're just broing up about these dog crimes.
You could keep that kind of company every day in the week. You could just hit an oil well or inherit some money.
Or find those Dobermans everyone's looking for.
Hey, yeah.
Crime dogs.
Find the crime
$350,000.
dogs. Do you believe that
God.
dogs rob a bank of that much money?
You're really hung up in that Doberman story, aren't you?
Dogs bust a bank and get away with it? You bet I'm hung up on it. Hey, guys, I bet you if we put our minds to it that we could find them.
What I could do with $350,000.
Like, that's all you do.
I can't remember the exact context of that scene, but one of the 3 AV Club members,
Warren.
Mr. Warren, is sitting in bed with a bunch of, like, photo negatives in a very sexy, like, Wolverine-looking Jean Grey photo pose with a shirt that's undone past his belly button. And what looks like no pants until the light shifts slightly and you realize, oh wait, no, he's just wearing like the most beige pants possible. He's so white that he looks like his pants.
If you need to get off looking at film negatives, like, you didn't even develop the film yet. What are you doing?
It was a really weird contextless scene. Like, it just cuts into that at one point. We were just like, whoa, okay.
But as he's getting off on these film negatives with his pants that are, colored like his flesh, he has the great idea to go talk to the AV Club and be like, hey, y'all want to do dog crime? But the AV Club's already planning to do dog crime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they
Everybody
get together.
wants to do dog crime.
That's how they get together. But they go out in the woods to go find the dogs using the oscilloscope high-pitched frequency, which is definitely what those do. With no audio equipment to send out that frequency, I need to point out, there's no speakers. There's nothing to send it.
There's nothing to send it. And they're like, wow, I can't hear anything. It's like, yeah, because it's...
You didn't fucking plug it in.
It's because it's ultrasonic. Only dogs can hear it. It's like, no, it needs speakers. That's why. You need to actually transmit the fucking noise.
And it took a long time to get here, but this is why I'm still fucking hung up on this, because what the fuck?
Yeah, no, none of it makes any sense. But yeah, we get 3 different crime guys at this point in the AV Club.
Yeah.
We have the, like, ineffectual... Oh, gee, would somebody get hurt during this guy, Mr. Warren?
Yeah.
We have the pure nerd. And then we have the unhinged psychopath abuser.
Yeah, so like...
the 3 tropes.
The three. So, yeah.
The nice guy.
Mustache Warren.
The nerd.
Greg, the AV Club, like, techno man.
And then Jack the Ripper.
And then Steve the abuser. Great.
Like, it's amazing how much, like, the first 2 guys are just kind of total bros, and they're like, I don't know, we'll just, like, find these dogs. That's not even a crime yet. And then Steve's just like, yeah, what if we get the dogs, and then we use them to murder widows? And you're like, wait, what? Steve, what is this plan?
Like,
goddamn, Steve.
They could just kick Steve out of the AV Club.
Right?
Why don't they do that?
But they made him captain instead, as it turns out. Steve just gets to call all the shots.
They fucked up. I feel bad for Greg. Greg's just a good guy. Greg does nothing wrong in this whole movie. He loves petting dogs. Like, yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, so they go out to the woods. They play
the woods. They're just in the woods.
They play the oscilloscope, and the dogs.
The dog music. Yep.
Come by, and then
they put on a laser light show, and all the dogs are in the front waving their arms like, "Woo, good dog music!"
Yeah, and they shove all the dogs inside their Winnebago.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, they empty one of the pouches and they find $30,000, which is like $130,000 or $19,000. It was $19,000.
$19,000,
which is like $130,000 USD today. And they're like, "Wow, we did it! We found all this money. We can split it 3 ways, and none of us will have to want for money for the next few years. It's great. We're done. We have solved the dog crime."
Excellent. All right, it's 15 minutes into the movie. Let's wrap this up, eh?
Yeah, so then Steve comes up. He's like, hey, wait a minute. Now that we have dog criminals, maybe we too could do dog crime. And get more money. We're the AV Club. We could do anything. AV Club! And they all put their hands up and high five.
Oh man. So the thing is, this part, Steve hasn't shown what a weird psycho he is yet.
Not yet.
Because the crime that they come up with is cool as hell, actually. It's like, we need to steal money, but untraceable money that nobody's gonna question.
You know, some place where they had a lot of cash lying around that they wouldn't be too anxious to report if it were missing. Unreported income.
You mean like the mafia? Hey.
No. We wouldn't live 3 days.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll be. We just gotta think about it.
You mean my daughter's bake sale?
Don't forget the dog food.
Let's go knock over some Girl Scout cookie
Let's go
stands.
steal from some Girl Scouts. We're the AV club. We got Dobermans.
God, they're gonna go after the chess club. That's the classic rivalry.
Yeah, I put to start a new video game club. Let's go punch him in the mouth.
God. I'm gonna start getting into, like, inter-school rivalry.
Yeah. That'd be a better movie.
That would be the Japanese version.
Well, they don't
You know
be
I'm not...
doing- They don't be
this is
doing
the
like kicks
manga.
and punches and stuff, yeah.
So we're robbing the mob? And it's like, not unless we want to die. I know. I have a better idea. Let's rob the American government.
Yeah,
That's less dangerous.
Let's rob the Republicans and Democrats
Yep.
and all their illegal contributions.
Yes,
And
specifically...
And at that moment, I'm like, hell yeah, Steve. Let's train these dogs to rob these corrupt politicians. I'm with you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Come on, think.
Oh no.
Who could be sitting on top of a pile of money they wouldn't be so anxious to report if it was knocked off?
Oh, come on, Steve. The mafia. We went through that.
No,
That's the only
not
people
the
that have
mafia,
money.
Warren. Who else? The political parties.
What?
The Republicans, the Democrats.
Okay,
Okay,
wait,
I'm
what?
in.
Done it.
Go on.
They've all been given money.
Hold up.
Can't say anything.
Hold up, let him cook.
Campaign for-
Let him
Let
cook.
him cook.
You know, you can't pick up a newspaper without reading about it. Political parties.
And Claudia is secretary to Cyrus W. Markham. And Cyrus W. Markham is campaign fund chairman. So in his office right now is $2 million nobody can talk about it.
Shh. Hey, if nobody can talk about it, how come you know about it?
I got it out of Claudia, but I don't want to talk about it.
He somehow knows an insider that knows that they have $2 million in illegal contributions in their local Republicans' coffers or something.
So specifically he knows because he's boning an elderly woman, age 40.
Mm-hmm.
Age 40. An elderly
Yep,
woman.
they literally go, I bet she's north of 40.
A senior citizen is what they call her.
Yes. Also, oh god, it was Joan, who, I know the actress.
Oh, the actress, yeah.
Yeah, the actress was actually somebody fairly important, or
She
like
was
well
good.
known at the time.
She was
Yeah,
good.
she was good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But she was also like 50 something.
She was
She
way
was-
older than 40, yeah.
She was way older than 40. And also, here's the funny part, because I looked it up. The actor who's like, where they're like, oh man, you know, you're going with her? Like, she's so much older than you. Wow, she's so old. Yeah, he's also over 40.
Yeah.
Charles Robinson. It was Joan Caulfield. That's who it was.
And so,
but yeah.
but as they're talking about their plan to rob the Republicans and Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
it plays out like a Black Dynamite scene. Because he doesn't
Yeah.
get to the point right away. He's like, alright, you know what we need to rob from people that have money but can't report it, right? Yeah, we already said we were going to rob the mafia, and that didn't work. They were going to murder us. Yeah, they are going to murder you. But what if we find someone that doesn't murder you? Have you heard about Little Richard's malt liquor? It makes you go, ooh. And they're like, yeah, it makes you go, ooh. Yeah, and what's another term for Little Richard? A small penis. That's right, a small dick. And we're going to use that small dick to bang that 50.
Now, what legend involving snakes is in both Greek and Roman mythology? Come on. It involves Asclepius' own father.
Apollo.
Yeah, thanks, lady.
That's right. Apollo slew the serpent at Delphi, which was a big-ass snake.
That's right. And what, brothers, is the biggest snake in the world?
The South American anaconda.
What she said?
Anaconda malt liquor!
And what is the slogan for Anaconda malt liquor? Anaconda malt liquor gives you woo! Gives you what? Woo! And who else is famous for?
Woo! Little Richard!
Who?
Little Richard!
So, what they really saying is
Anaconda malt liquor gives you Little Richard.
What is another word for Richard?
Steve Small Dick. Don't call him Small Dick Steve for nothing.
It plays out exactly like a Black Dynamite scene.
Yeah, they get into real weird, stilted explanations of their crimes a few times.
Oh man, it feels like a parody during that scene. It's so good. It's so good. And so they decide to rob the politicians, right? But they need to get the plan together because it has to end exactly like the first movie, in that they get the plan and they do the stuff and they build the thing.
Yep.
And at the same time, there's a small kid who's watching them from the side. So like, yeah, we're out in the woods. Nobody will ever see us do anything. As kid is off frame, seeing them do everything. I was just going to
say, now is the time that we need to bring up the biggest recurring joke in this movie. The whole 25 minutes before this, where there's a bunch of people searching for the dogs, there's constantly people wandering through the woods and looking in caves and stuff and going, nope, no dogs in here. And then the camera zooms out just slightly, and the dogs are
right there,
watching them from a bush 5 feet away.
There's a cop on a walkie-talkie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm the best cop in the biz, the best cop in the force, and I can't find these dogs. They're nowhere. And it's right behind
I'll
them.
find the dogs immediately if they were around here, but they can't be around here. And the dogs are sitting literally 5 feet behind him as he's doing this, out his window.
This is their favorite joke.
It's incredible how they keep doing it. And I don't know, is this movie serious or a comedy? Because it's not a dark comedy.
That I'm not sure, because I was looking up reviews and somebody in IMDb was bitching about the fact that this was listed as a comedy, because in their review they're like, I don't remember a single fucking comedic scene in either of these films.
There's some comedy in this.
There is.
It's just mostly weird and off-putting. Or it's simply the off-frame stuff, which is, you're not quite sure if it's meant as a joke or if they actually think they're doing something with it. It kind of feels it does feel like they think that that's a big dramatic thing, with having the kid reveal, especially, that it's dun dun dun, oh no, twist, there's actually a kid watching them. And they don't realize that they've done it 7 times by now, so it's just it's just a hilarious joke rather than
do it every scene. No,
yeah, because they quite literally do it 7 or 8 times by this point in the movie. It's constant. It's always happening. It's incredible how fucking regular it is.
So this kid watches them set up, and then shows up to go pet the dogs, and Warren comes out because the other two are out partying and banging senior citizens.
Yes.
I guess that's what the AV Club does now. Now they have $130,000 American dollars worth of money in today's economy.
Hey, you get $130,000 worth of money, you button your high collar shirt down and
only halfway.
Extra buttons
only
so that
halfway,
it goes... Yeah. You button it down a little bit extra, and then you go out and find yourself some MILFs.
Well, more of a gilf, really. But,
as it turns,
I don't know. Anyway, so fuck. But Warren doesn't want any of that. Warren just wants to like hang around with some dogs.
Yeah, so, he just wanted to hang around with some dogs and use an oscilloscope.
Yeah, so
he wanted to make dog music.
He hears the kid moving around. He goes outside and he confronts the kid. He's like, "Hey kid, what the hell are you doing out here with our dogs?" And then it cuts to them at the party, which is not Warren, the other two, Greg and Steve. And it cuts back, and now Warren has adopted this child.
Yeah, Warren. Well, let's not undersell this, because the next scene is it cuts to the party, and they're just doing party stuff. It's totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back after 30 seconds to Warren in his sleeping bag naked. And you're like, wait, what? There was a kid here like 5 minutes ago, right? What is happening?
And then the kid knocks on the door to wake him up because it's 6 a.m.
Yeah, this is another one I get. See, like, this is where it kind of feels like it might have been trying to go for comedy. Because this part was kind of funny.
But, Because
you remember with the kid?
Warren's mad at him for waking him up at 6, and the kid's like, "I'm sorry, I had to help my grandfather wash the clothes. I'll be here earlier next time."
Yeah, it won't be so late, sir.
My bad. I'll wake you up at 5:30 tomorrow. You piece
He's like,
of
"Oh,
shit.
Son of a bitch, fuck off, kid."
But, yeah, so there's a scene where Warren's like, "Hey, kid, what the fuck are you doing?" And then immediately, "All right, you're our adopted son now. You're going to help with the dogs."
Son.
And it
yes.
like, she didn't ask him to join, just now he's here.
That also, there's just 20 seconds of setup to just, alright, we just got Crime Kid.
So
don't worry about it, he's Crime Kid.
So then Greg comes back, the techno geek, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going, Warren? Yeah, I got all the equipment. I don't know what Steve was doing. He was banging some senior citizen. So I left him." "Hey, what's that kid doing here?" "Oh, I adopted him." "Oh, cool. Yeah, kid's in the AV club
that sounds cool. Yeah, man.
Good for
we
you.
really needed a child mascot in AV club. Kids are good with electronics, right?
You're paying him, right? Yeah, 50 cents a day. Good man.
Yeah, they pay this kid to just start training their crime dogs.
Yeah.
Which, do we want to address the problem with that now?
Yeah, so the dogs already know how to do crime. Why are they training them again? Right? Like, is that the issue?
Well, I mean the actual problem with this movie where it's problematic.
Oh, the racism.
Why it's this kid and why he's good with dogs.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, this is kind of the entrance point to that, isn't it?
Yeah, alright.
Because we were, at the time, we're like, oh, is this implied? Is this racist? Is this going to go there? Is it going to, like, imply that this kid's good with dogs because he's indigenous? And we're like, yeah, it kind of feels like it's set up that way.
Because he's a Native American kid, yeah.
At least it's kind of just implied. Like, I mean, he's just a kid. Like, it doesn't necessarily, like, nobody's like, oh, well, he's good because, you know how they are with dogs or something. Like, they don't do anything like that. And you're like, okay, this isn't that bad. And then the dog gets a snake bite later and he has a cure for it.
He has to use Native American medicine to cure the dog. I also need to point out that the kid has like a Willy Wonka thing going on where his grandpa sleeps in a bed for like the whole day and that's all he does. Where I kind of feel like Willy Wonka grandpa should show up later during the heist to help out, but he drinks a soda pop, you know?
I thought that might have been where the end would go, is that it wasn't just the kid doing it, but like he'd have told the grandpa, and the grandpa was like,
yeah,
all right, kid, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get these fuckers.
Yeah, but that guy just got paid to be an extra in a bed for a scene. That's all he did.
He's just in like 1 or 2 scenes, just laying in bed, going, "I'm grandpa.
I'm old.
Go to work, Billy." Also, yes, this kid is Billy the Kid.
Billy the Kid. So that's another thing, because the first movie, I think, had a Western tie-in also, where some of the kids were, or some of the characters were called, like, famous Western, I don't know, villains, heisters. Like, I think Butch Cassidy or something.
Dogs?
Like,
yeah.
They named the dogs after them or something. There was a tie-in.
Something like that, yes.
And in this movie, there's Billy the Kid. So there's another tie-in.
They're just kind of seeding little homages out there, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I guess. But it's setting up that the kid's gonna take the dogs or betray them or do crime at some point. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay.
The minute they introduced the kid, I was like, okay, so the kid's definitely gonna have the heart of gold and he's gonna walk away with the dogs.
Yeah, so Steve ends up going to a, I don't know, like a interior designer, I guess?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, he finds an interior decorator that did their office.
Yeah, to get schematics for their office so they can plan the heist.
Mm-hmm.
Which he does, because nobody goes to Dallas, so they would never be able to check his story.
He's from Dallas, and like, yeah, all right, we need a city that's big enough to be believable that I could have a company there, but bad enough that no one would ever go to check.
Yep. And then when Steve gets back with the schematics, he's like, hey, what's up with the fucking kid? Oh, we adopted him. Oh, cool, we got a kid in the AV club now.
Oh, man, I love this kid.
And then it's like 3 dudes and a baby, I guess, or something. I don't know, they had just adopted this child.
They just adopt this kid, and now this movie... We're about, what, like 30 minutes in or so?
Like
35. That. And it's time for them to realize, oh, wait, we've dropped pretty much all the plot on everybody. And it's been 35 minutes, so let's slam the brakes on this machine. It's going way too fast.
We need another 35 minutes of montage. It's the only way.
35? I felt more like 45 or 50 at least.
Well, I'm cutting out the 5-minute music video.
God.
Of Billy the Kid running down the fields to, I don't know, some inspirational folk music.
Yeah, the music in this is something. The first movie, actually, was the very first composed score by Alan Silvestri, who is well known for having done, like, the Back to the Future trilogy and Predator and all kinds of film scores later in his career. This movie... is not scored by Alan Silvestri.
No.
And, yeah, it's, there's some choices in the music.
This film has a lot of farty trumpets, is what it has.
It sure does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it just then becomes all this training montage bullshit that just bogs the movie down.
They get pictures of the people that would be in the 9th floor, so they could trade the dogs to recognize people's faces and what to do with that person. And then they do carpentry to build the thing, and they need a carpentry montage. And then they have to teach them how to run, and then how to jump. And that's so fucking much.
Yes. Yeah, they have to teach them every single aspect of the heist, where they, like, are gonna give a note, it's exactly the first movie. I'm so mad how right you were, because it's just, all right, we'll put a note on one of them, and then it'll go up to this person. The first dog can be a distraction by looking cute, which is exactly what the first movie did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, and then they'll go after the security guy and stop them from doing it, just like the first movie did. Like,
bite the gun out of the hand.
Just bite the gun out of the hand. The first movie. It's absolutely note for note, beat for beat, every single aspect of the first movie. The kid is basically a stand-in for, in the first movie, there was a dog trainer who didn't realize that it was going to be used for a heist. And instead they were like, wait, that's stupid. Any adult would have realized that these dogs are being used for a heist.
Yeah.
And so
we need a kid to do
instead,
it, because they're dumb.
They have a kid who's dumb.
I guess.
And the kid's their dog trainer, though, because they're all too fucking stupid to train the dogs.
They don't really do anything except carpentry, I'll be honest.
Nope.
That's pretty much it.
Well, and then they do carpentry. Greg is constantly, like, on a bed fiddling with electronics equipment. He's always in, like, a hammock fiddling with just random electronics for no reason.
Look, without Greg, the AV Club would be nothing. He's the only one who knows anything about electronics in this film. And he didn't even plug it in. So
Warren's just sitting there, like, playing with his adopted son.
I would say Warren makes a pretty good dad most of the film. I'm going to be honest.
Most of the film he does.
Yeah.
And then Steve's out, like, skinning live animals just to show what a bastard he is.
Where Steve doesn't have a drink in his hand either. He's always drunk. Always
like
drinking.
All of a sudden, it just starts like showing Steve's downward spiral into like he's just doing put the lotion on its skin scenes every other scene where he's like beating the dogs all of a sudden.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yup. Like he just starts abusing the dogs. He starts abusing the woman that he's seeing. Like
he hits the child. Everything that's bad. So narratively, what I find most upsetting about that is that there's no fucking point to any of it. It doesn't lead to anything. There's no repercussions for his abuse. There's no he does something
not any
positive for the group because of all the abuse. He's abusive now, and he's still Steve.
And he's still just good guy Steve they all follow and listen to, and it's like, wait, but why?
Why?
The other two don't seem like psychopaths at all.
No, they're just
baby
club bros. Yeah, I don't...
Steve's just out, like, sharpening knives in the corner, and the rest of them are like, hey, should we set up a ham radio?
Should we set up a ham radio? Steve, hey, I found this poison on a frog outside.
He's, like, licking this bloody knife, like, just...
What the fuck, Steve?
But no, nobody says what the fuck, Steve. That's the weird part.
And then Steve, comes into the kitchen. Hey, you want to go to the old folks' home? Why do you want to go to the old folks' home, Steve? Oh, pick up a date. It's like, God damn it, Steve. God damn it, Steve.
It's so fucking weird that there's anything tying these people together at all. Like, why would they keep Steve on at this point?
They're trying to keep the kid out of knowledge of what their plan is. So then they start talking about the plan, saying, hey, we got to keep that kid out of this plan. We can't tell him anything about all these very specific things I'm going to now tell you about this plan, knowing full well the child will never hear us talking. As the kid's right outside the window listening to them talking.
Hey, weird, they did that joke of them zooming out slightly.
and that also doesn't fucking amount to anything.
No. It's amazing how little all of this amounts to anything, because none of them have character arcs.
No.
Like you said, like, Steve just suddenly is abusive now. Nobody questions it. There's no tension because of it. And he doesn't get any extra punishment for it. Like, all of the guys get punished for the crime.
Yes.
But all equally.
Like, and you expect Steve would have got shot or something. Like, something to make it worthwhile that those things happened.
You'd expect a schism in the group.
Something.
Right?
Yeah, like, hey, you can't hit the dogs. We're training the dogs to do this heist, and if you hit the dogs, you're going to ruin the whole operation. Like, something.
Or at least, and then later on when he hits the kid, you'd think that at least, like, Greg and Warren would pull each other aside and go, hey, what do you feel about Steve?
Yeah, what the fuck's going on? Yeah,
hey, why is he hitting my adoptive kid? No, because Warren is really nice to this kid.
Instead, it cuts directly to the heist. There's nothing. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, it just sets all of this stuff up like they would have all of this discord and reasons for not getting along and having all this tension in the group and then being like, oh, maybe they'll double cross each other. Is somebody like playing the other side, trying to like get all the money? They could have done all of this stuff, and that's the first movie. I will give it this. The first movie did do that.
Correct. Yeah.
Which was actually why that first movie, I don't think it was amazing, but we liked it. I remembered liking it at least a little bit. Like, there was some redeemable things about it.
This one feels like they knew the idea of dogs robbing a bank was goofy, and they're like, hey, let's wink at the camera and make it kind of silly. But then they threw in all these other elements they didn't do anything with, just to bog it down.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
And they had enough time to give all of them arcs.
Yes.
Because it's just all montages. Like, that's part of the frustrating thing, is that it's not like they couldn't have done anything with it. Half plus of this movie is just montage filler.
Yeah.
That's rehashing
and there's no
the first
tension
one.
in any of it.
No. So why not give them some tension and motivation?
And
they just don't.
They try to do tension, like when Prince, one of the dogs, gets attacked by a rattler. The dog is almost out of the picture. Like, it almost dies from the poison. They're like, well, if that dog's gone, then what are we going to do? Our whole thing's ruined. We'll have to, like, retrain the dogs to do something else with one less dog. And, like, that would be tension. That would be something that might break the group up or might make them have to do something. And the dog's fine.
Neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog just ends up being totally fine, and none of them fight over it. Like, they have a brief 10-second fight where he goes, "Why did you let the kid back?" And he's like, "Well, I feel bad." And he's like, "You shouldn't have done that." And he goes, "Okay, I guess I shouldn't."
And you think,
and then that's it.
You think this would be the moment where the kid finally betrays them too, and that also doesn't happen.
Or like I said, at least maybe that moment could finally be when Greg and Warren pull each other to the side and go,
"Yeah,
okay, he's beating this kid and stuff," and like, I mean, this seems real fucked up, right? Like, do you want to keep going through it? No, nothing. Absolutely no tension in the group. They're just like, we'll just do the heist now. And then they just do the heist now.
Speaking of the heist, so the heist is the good part of the movie.
Yes.
I would say.
At the beginning, I feel like the beginning and the end are both fairly solid in different ways.
So they do the heist. Their plan is to drive a linen car to a linen place down the street, park it, and then have the dogs, after they drop them off at an elevator in the building,
service elevator,
do the crime on their own with all their training, so that nobody sees the people behind the crime and assume they're just crime dogs, which is what they were at the beginning of the movie. So I don't know why they needed to do this at all.
Yeah.
So as they tell the elevator to stop at every floor to buy themselves some time, they timed out the crime. This is going to take exactly 4 minutes, 20 seconds, 0.69 of a second.
We're not even kidding. That's...
Alright, we timed it out. 4:20:69 is the perfect crime time.
4:26.9. There we go. We rounded up to 4:27. Very nice. Well timed. Amazing training, kid. Hey, why did we train these dogs this way? Shut up, Billy.
It's because they're rescue dogs, and they need to do rescue in very specific timings between doors while they hold up their people they're rescuing and put money in bags. Anyways, so the dogs are going up the elevator, stopping at every floor, and every floor that it stops at, somebody looks in the elevator and goes, "Oh, dogs," and then they close it.
It's the whole montage of them.
That's a really good scene. My favorite is when it opens up on one of the floors and there's a janitor. And it just cuts to him going, "My God."
And it like zooms in a couple times on both the dogs and him, back and forth.
It's the funniest thing.
Holy fuck, it is so goddamn funny. I was dying.
It's funny.
His delivery, the way that it's edited, everything about it. And I am really not sure if they meant it as a joke or not. I really cannot tell you.
My God.
So the dogs get up to the 9th floor, and their plan is they need to distract the receptionist. So one of the dogs is not very good at doing crime, but is a very good boy.
Yes.
Right? So how do they distract the receptionist?
By being super cute and going over and doing big and roll over and all kinds of funny tricks for the receptionist right at the beginning.
And that'll never work.
Some belly rubs.
Yeah, nobody's ever distracted by a cute dog. That'll never.
My receptionist is running over there just like petting that good boy's belly just all over the place. All the other dogs are running 6 inches behind that she doesn't notice somehow.
The only thing that would have been better is if the dogs had guns in their mouths.
They're all strapped with like tactical gear and satchels.
So
nobody notices this. Don't worry about it.
Each of the dogs holds up an individual person in the office to prevent them from calling the police. The receptionist is still distracted by cute boy doing cute tricks, which is totally fair.
Sure.
She's not going to lose her job over that. Anybody would fall for that.
It's the best trick in the book.
And then the dog goes to the secretary, hands the note over saying, "Hey, we're here to rob you." The secretary brings the dog into the office because I guess.
I mean, they made it seem like they were trained to attack if they didn't do what the notes say.
Correct. So she goes over, the corrupt politician is talking about the safe, because the note talked about the safe. Like, how'd they know about that safe with $2 billion of dirty money in it? Behind this American flag, I'm saluting the flag.
God, my favorite part of the score happens here too. How I said that the score is like really weird and off-putting a lot of the time, and as you said, a lot of farty trumpets.
Yeah.
They do the fartiest trumpet fake American national anthem bullshit every time that flag is on screen. It's so good. It's so good. He's got a wall safe behind a big American flag that he rolls up like a curtain.
It's like a sarcastic theme.
Yes.
Something.
But also he only it's a curtain, but a curtain only for where the safe is. So you've got to imagine that it's a hidden safe full of dirty money in this office behind an American flag, but the American flag has a gigantic fucking pull cord next to it that reveals exactly that safe.
It's like
nobody's ever gonna look at the fucking pull cord.
It's a fucking cartoon, is what it is. Yeah.
There's not gonna be like a slight breeze as somebody walks in the office and they go, wow, weird that you have a big safe full of dirty money there. Hey, I'm a politician, you know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has that. I am a Republican or Democrat. It's not clear which.
That also, yes.
Anyways, so they open the safe. The politician grabs for the gun that he has in his safe, but the dog, lightly bites his arm.
God, it's amazing how non-destructive dog bites are in this.
These are very well-trained dogs. Yeah.
As far as, the actual stunts that the dogs do, I will say, when they do all of the montaging and stuff like that, the one saving grace of it is that these dogs are pretty impeccably trained.
Mm-hmm. So they put all the money into the bags one by one. Each of the dogs leaves one by one. And then they go with their escape plan, because they were going to shut them off so they couldn't leave through the bottom floor. And everybody knows dogs take the elevator. Instead, the dogs go to the roof. One of them opens the door, which actually happens on screen and is very cute.
Yes, it's like I said, these dogs are really impeccably trained. Like, they're fantastic.
And then they jump building to building to get away instead, which is what they were training them for. At one point, though, they run past a gym where people were working out on the roof.
Oh, God. That's right after the jump. That's after the jump.
Yeah. Because they run by, and all the dogs go by, but one stops to look at this guy who's, like, pulling some weights behind his head.
Just doing some lats, yeah.
And the dog's
like, hey,
wow,
man,
doing pretty good there.
Good job, bro. Let's do a little fist bump.
Fist bumps? Yeah, some real nice gains, brah.
Yeah, man. What kind of protein you taking? You in that creatine?
And then the dog, like, remembers...
what powders you on, bro?
Yeah, the dog remembers he's doing crime. He's like, oh, sorry, I gotta go.
Crime.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, shit, I got distracted.
I know, but...
That dog clearly missed that jump. Hey, y'all working out over here? Pretty cool.
Yeah, bro, you can get it.
Damn, you got gains. Yeah, you got gains. Good job.
Encouragement, dog. There was also a scene when they're doing the jump, they had set up that one of the dogs wasn't as good at jumping, and so it biffs it, and another dog has to go over and like, no, Fred, don't let go, I've got you. And like pulls him up the building.
But I think that's because in the first movie, when one of the dogs got hit by a car, they just left that dog, so this is like a callback to that, but...
Oh, they didn't just leave the dog. One of the other dogs robs that dog.
That's true, yeah.
The other dog steals the satchel
bags,
off of him, and then leaves him to die in the street.
Yeah, so I think they're like, the test audience of that one felt bad, so...
It sucked in the first movie, that part was not great. I did remember that,
So the dogs get away, they get to the linen building, and then they don't remember, like, where they need to jump, so they just kind of all pile into the linen room, being like, alright, now what? I don't know.
Yeah, because there's a linen basket in front of...
Which they didn't test for. Yeah.
Yes, in front of the linen chute.
Weird.
But they're like, well, I don't know, there probably won't be linen in the linen room in front of the linen chute. That'd be fucking stupid.
Yeah, so the linen guy shows up and starts emptying the linen into the chute. And the dogs are like, oh, there's a hole there.
Oh. Meanwhile, the guys have been, like, waiting down below, which I found hilarious because they hit every button on the service elevator because they're like, we gotta not fuck up the time, we gotta make sure we've got enough time to get over there. And then it shows them get over there in literally 30 seconds.
And they have, like, minutes to just sit there and wait, yeah.
They're just kind of, like, smoking, hanging out, cracking some beers while the dogs are doing the whole heist. They're like...
They set up a ham radio, start fiddling with the dial, doing AV club
Greg's
stuff.
on his hammock.
Yeah. Fucking... And then the dogs eventually show up after 6 minutes. They were late by 1.5 minutes or whatever. And then they all get away. They're in the vehicle. They drive back to the cabin in the woods that they have.
Yep.
And as they're driving up, they're like, yeah, we got away. Nobody can track this money. Nobody even knows we did it. Wow. No witnesses, especially not that child.
High fives.
High five.
All around.
And when
crisp high fives.
And when they get out of their vehicle, 1 second, not even 1 fucking second later, the FBI's there.
The FBI was literally clinging to the bottom of their undercarriage. Like, because they step out of the vehicle that they just got into. They're in a wilderness. Like, this is a wide open, like, desert. But the cops are, like, they pop out of the ground.
From, like, behind them, like, outside the truck. It makes no sense. And the FBI's there is like, yeah, we think that you robbed that bank in the past Doberman movie. 1 movie ago.
It's just Deus Ex FBI. It's so fucking wild.
And you see the kid in the background. You're like, wait, did the kid call the FBI? What's happening?
And the kid's chuckling. Yeah, and you're like, wait. Did the kid plan all of this? I actually thought they might have gone for a really wild thing, which is basically that it was The Sting, but with this child being, like, the ultimate con artist.
That would
like,
make more sense, right?
Did he tell his granddad, and then his granddad, like, sets up this whole sting operation and tells the kid what to do? No, that would have actually been cool and interesting.
No, but the AV Club gets jailed for the Doberman gang's crime of the bank, not their current crime of the politicians. Correct. And then the dogs...
Because that money can't be traced.
No, that money can't be traced. And all the dogs get away and go with Billy the Kid off into the sunset.
Yeah, because Billy is masterminding it a bit, because he's just standing on a ridge with a, like, whistle that he just carved himself that controls the dogs, which they've never shown in this movie since...
Yeah, I kind of thought Billy was just doing bird calls with his hand. I don't know what was happening there.
Well,
racism is what was happening there, but
yes,
sure,
yeah,
whatever.
But he just gets the money, and the FBI. I just want to say, I do find it very funny how the FBI knew that it was them doing the first bank, or like their connection to it, which is great and actually would work in real life. They're like, well, you spent all the money from that first one, and it's bank money, so it's fucking numbered bills, you dumb motherfuckers.
They spent it on carpentry equipment, they spent it on electronics equipment, an oscilloscope, they bought a car.
They made their AV clubhouse and a ham radio.
Like, they essentially are... They're arresting them because they spent dirty money on a treehouse.
Yes. Yeah. That's the AV club crime. The thing that gets them. They're like fucking Al Capone. It's not the real crime to get them, it's the stupid shit.
But when they see the dogs run away, they're like, that's enough for court. We'll just tell them we saw the dogs.
Yes, oh my god, right. Yeah, when the dogs run off with all of the evidence, all the money from the new crime. I don't know, we'll just lie on the stand. We're cops, what are they gonna do?
That's enough for court. They'll believe us, we're cops. Fuck.
The American justice system.
And that's the daring Doberman.
That's the end. It just ends. That's what it... The kid whistles on the hill, the dogs run off, and then credits roll, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Whatever. Yeah, the one... Well, there's a lot of loose ends. The one loose end
Yeah.
I'm a little upset about is at the end of the first movie, the Dobermans followed a bulldog into the woods. Specifically. It was another dog that was not part of their gang. And in this movie, that dog doesn't exist. So what happened to that dog? Did it die in a drug bender with all the money?
Killed in rewrites. Yeah, killed in rewrites. I mean, they had stolen $350,000, and only $19,000 was recovered.
So did the bulldog spend it all?
Yeah, they just went out for like a huge bender and blow for like.
Yeah, the Dobermans also stole a ham from some guy, I guess. Sure, all right. There was a guy making the fancy stuff. Beans.
Yeah, they talk about how much at least they left him the beans. And they're talking about how, rich Mr. Preston is coming for his woods business meeting. We've got to make him the good meat.
Yeah, what? That was fucking weird. That was
real fucking weird.
The other
dogs come and cry away.
The other loose end is the hunters that show up. And they're like, we're looking out for Dobermans because we heard that they robbed a bank. We want their money. But we're stopping by for water and a beer. Haha, see you later, not criminal AV club. And that doesn't lead anywhere.
What are you guys doing out in the woods? As they're like, hurriedly like, wait, don't look suspicious. Throw big tarps over all the stuff we're doing right in front of them, visibly.
Be suspicious as possible. Like, I thought the hunters would have been the FBI agents or something, right? Like,
right? Yeah, that would have made some sense. Yes. That, like, we've been watching you. See, these are our agents the whole time. And you're like, okay. That
would have made a lot more sense than just popping out of the ground at the end. Like, I don't know. Let's rate the dogs, I guess.
Yeah, it's incredible they have the setup for the FBI to be there. And then they
don't do it, yeah.
Didn't do it. They just do a different thing, which is nothing.
So much of the writing in this movie is just start something and then forget about it.
Yes. And then, wait, we need to solve a problem. Oh, well, do you remember that thing that we forgot about earlier? No, we forgot about it. Let's do a new thing. Bring in the FBI.
Yep.
Because if they remembered the hunters, they could have done it.
The Doberman. There are 5 of them because there were 6 in the original movie, and one of them got ran over by a car. So there's one less.
Let's emphasize the dog death.
Yeah, you're welcome, everyone. The dogs are really cute. They get a ton of pets. They constantly get treats. One of them gets steak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Warren is a pretty good guy in a lot of ways. Yeah. Like, he's feeding the dog steak because he's like, well, we made a lot of money off of them coming with all the satchels. Like, these are good boys. Let's give them some steak. And he cuts up, like, on screen, an actual steak.
Like a ribeye or something? It's a nice
like, it was like a nice ribeye, and he's, like, cutting it up for the dogs. And he's like, they're good boys. They deserve good treats. And he's helping his adopted son feed them.
Yep. The dogs can open doors. They can do crime. They can bite a cop.
They can rescue their friends who have fallen off of a roof.
They're really into positive reinforcement of gains while working out and proper form.
I was going to say, yeah. They're good coaches, like they're saying, get after there, get them team. Yo, fam, you can do this. You can get those gains. Show me those lats, baby.
I think these are very easy 13 out of 10 dogs. These are good dogs.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, across the board. Mm-hmm. They're stealing from politicians, like banks and politicians. What more could you ask for? These are all victimless crimes.
Yeah, nobody was hurt in the making of this film. Yeah.
Well, except by Steve. Steve hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, fuck Steve.
It's so fucking weird that nobody else calls Steve. Like, nobody stops Steve on his bullshit.
You know where they would go with the next 2 movies? They find dogs in the woods. They trade them to do crime. They build the new location, run through it, and then the crime happens, and then the dogs get away. I already wrote the next 2 films.
I was gonna say, well, good news. You've written the next 2 podcast episodes also when we do The Amazing Dobermans and then Alex and the Dobermans is, I think, the last one.
Yeah.
It's Alex and the Doberman gang, or some shit like that. Alex and them. Who's Alex? We'll find out later.
Just some guy, probably. There's nothing here. There's nothing.
I just hope that he's not under Steve in the corner, like, cleaning his nails with a Bowie knife.
Yeah. That's it for this episode, I suppose. So, thanks for listening. You can check us out on social media at Rough Cuts Cast on Twitter. Rough Cuts... I always forget. It's roughcutscast at Gmail for our email, but...
Yes, Rough Cuts Cast on Twitter, Rough Cuts Cast on Twitter and on the Gmail, and then just at Rough Cuts on co-host, because we were able to get just Rough Cuts on co-host.
Check out our Patreon if you want to get episodes early, as well as help us pay to produce this wonderful show that you are enjoying right now. Or not. I don't know. Don't tell me.
This was $1.99 to buy. Thanks for buying it.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, it was a rental. I don't own this stuff. I can't watch this again. You kidding me? I had to return this to the store afterwards. I went to a Blockbuster. There's only one left. You know how hard it is to return that shit?
Our costs are really high on the podcast. Sending Boyks out to Wisconsin every other week to go and get from the last Blockbuster all these final movies. It ain't cheap. It's not getting cheaper.
Anyways. That's all I got. I got nothing.
I think we're good.
Yeah, alright. Whatever you do, don't... I'm being serious here. Do not train dogs to steal dirty money from dirty politicians, especially the Democrats and Republicans and or the president. Do not do that.
God, I hope they escalate the next one to them just stealing from the White House directly.
Yeah.
Mr. President, get down, it's a dog!
He's got a note!
Blam blam! How's the dog doing that? Very good, boys.
Alright, see you later, folks.
But they're dogs. Just dogs.